But you know what it did for me?
Okay.
It instilled hope for me for that generation coming up.
That's right.
Yes.
Because these brothers
You're
were
right.
intentional, they were curious,
Right.
they wanted to learn, they were taking care of their families.
That's right.
All of them were married and were loving on their children and had a Christ-centered focus.
They did.
Yeah.
So to me, I walked away from both of those sessions with a lot of hope.
Yeah. Yeah. They all bowed their heads when we prayed. They sure did. Even if the ones that didn't.
Okay, thank you, Osei. Thank you.
Hey, fellas, and welcome back to this episode of Men's Power Connect, where we discuss the advantages of valuing our wives. Check it out.
What's up, fellas? This is Carlos Green with the Men's Power Connect, and welcome back to another episode of the Men's Power Connect. And I want to challenge you all right now. Do you see, feel, hear, and value your spouse? That's going to be what we're going to be talking about. And I'm interested to hear what my iron sharpening iron brothers have to say about that. So you're all welcome to the show, Mr. Osei Harvey.
Yes, sir. What's going on, fellas? I'm going to take my time this time. It's good to be back in the building.
Yes, sir.
Everybody all right?
Oh,
We're good.
We're good.
Yes, sir.
We're good.
Good, good.
And none other than Mr. Myron Head.
Grace and peace, everybody. So glad to be back with you for another episode of the Men's Power Connect, where the mission here is to equip, engage, and empower men in life and in leadership. And just a joy to be with my brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Doing this. And so we recently, over the last couple months, we have done a couple focus groups with some phenomenal men who are in the covering stage. If you've been following with us, you know we have a thing that we have created called the 5 stages of fathering well.
Mm-hmm.
And the covering is the first stage. That's when you find out that you're going to be a dad, all the way up through when your son becomes a toddler. And so we got together with a group of men, like I said, on 2 different occasions. Phenomenal men, had a really great time.
Shout out to those men.
Yeah,
right?
shout out to those
Shout
brothers,
out to those brothers.
who were present.
Y'all were amazing.
They were, just some solid
Dude.
brothers, man.
Was it about 10 of them? 11?
Yeah, for each one of the focus
it was-
groups,
yeah.
remember, it was at least 10.
Oh, that's right.
9 to 10 on
Yeah.
every one of them.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
almost
For
20
both
guys,
of them.
yeah.
Right, almost
Yep.
20 guys. But you know what it did for me?
Okay.
It instilled hope for me for that generation coming up.
That's right.
Yes.
Because these brothers
You're
were
right.
intentional, they were curious,
Right.
they wanted to learn, they were taking care of their families.
That's right.
All of them were married and were loving on their children and had a Christ-centered focus.
They did.
Yeah.
So to me, I walked away from both of those sessions with a lot of hope.
Yeah. Yeah. They all bowed their heads when we prayed. They sure did. Even if the ones that didn't.
Okay, thank you, Osei. Thank you.
But and then for me, I picked up some. I was getting nuggets from them
Yes.
as well, man. Just inspired and encouraged, right?
Yes.
It
Encouraged,
was.
like you said about the next generation,
Yes.
and then inspired by these men just to continue to pursue my calling as a father. So again, shout out to these brothers.
Yep.
But so from those focus groups, a theme kind of continued to emerge, and we want to talk about that here today, and even as we're going to get into a series, and I'll give you some of the topics we're going to cover in a moment. But what emerged was, as a new father, or as a father who is now adding an additional child to the family structure changes, the dynamics of the family changes. How do I ensure that I keep my marriage as a priority? And how do I ensure that I'm focusing there while also adjusting to the new environment? And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this series, just to give you a couple of the topics that you're going to find. One will be prioritizing marital expectations. Another will be prioritizing your marriage, prioritizing listening, and then also prioritizing shared interest between you and your spouse in your marriage.
Yeah.
So fellas, what sticks out to you, or why do you guys think that this is something that is so important for men in that covering stage, but also men in general?
Well, I would say first of all, we can't forget that the family is the first institution, right? Before actually having children, you have a marriage. And you want to make sure that the health of the marriage stays healthy, right? Even though you're adding an additional members within the family, you want to make sure that your relationship with your spouse remains as strong and as connected as possible. Because if it doesn't, then it kind of shakens up the foundation. It kind of weighs in on how you father. It weighs in on how you are a partner to your spouse.
Okay.
To avoid that, you just want to make sure you keep the relationship fresh, you know? So I feel like, you know, as you mentioned, with everything that comes in line with valuing your relationship, it's got to remain a priority. Because the last thing you want to do is look back and say that you didn't put in the work to sustain the health of relationship, which then weighs on the foundation of the family.
Right.
Right. So God, your marriage, and then your family. Right. So that's kind of how I see why it should be prioritized in those particular areas.
I think with me being seasoned in my marriage, 34 years, and even growing up in my marriage, right now in society, we are seeing so many couples who have been married for an extended period of time decide that they don't want to be married anymore. And even though they have grown children, that's still devastating.
Right.
That you spend all that time and then you make a decision that this is not for you at this point. And then the other thing is I experienced divorce growing up in my immediate and extended family. And no shade on any of them at this point, but I understood the ripple effect, the damage that it had to not only the children, but to the people that were getting divorced. And we say, it damages the children, but there is major issues and consequences for people that are in that stage. So for me, this is extremely important because we want to, like our mission says, equip, empower, and engage men. This is the part of the life that we want to engage them in so that they can have a solid, anchored marriage that will benefit not only them, but their spouse and their children.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then the leadership part too, right? Because when your marriage is strong, it creates safety for the kids, right? Because the kids, they're not thinking, the last thing you want, let me say it this way, it's for your kids to go to bed wondering, are mommy and daddy are gonna stay together, right? So we gotta make sure that we as husbands are leading our families well, are staying engaged with our wives, prioritizing our marriage, prioritizing her. And there's a lot of different dynamics to that, not just with the kids, but even outside of the house. Your mom can't be more priority than your wife. Or your dad, or your cousins, or your sister, or your brother, whoever, right? Because the Bible tells us that when a man marries his wife, or when Adam found Eve, he would leave his family and cleave to his wife.
Leave and cleave.
So you can't stay connected in that regard, right, with your family. Yeah, you still stay connected, but the priority has to be clear.
Right.
And the priority has to be your spouse. So anyway, Carlos, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say too, from the focus groups that we had with these men, another thing that I realized too, that as they are all being married, there was a craving for community.
Yeah.
To understand I'm not in this alone.
Right.
And how do I best serve my wife?
Yeah.
In the stage as we have children now, and how do we continue to make it a priority? So what are some of those best practices? How can I make sure that I can call another brother and we can be iron sharpening iron? So I sense that craving of community that they wanted.
we said in the pre-show meeting that we weren't going to go.
It's all right. We gave him.
But I gotta just say
we
this-
gave him a minute.
But I gotta say
with
this real
that,
quick though, and
I'm
then
done.
I'll get on. I know I told you I was gonna do that.
I wasn't.
No.
that's not
He's
you,
talking
it's all
about
me.
him. He's talking about himself.
What?
But
What is happening now?
when you mentioned community,
Yes.
I think that ties into prioritizing your marriage, because a part of prioritizing your marriage is making sure that your marriage has community.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure that not only do you and your wife date, go out and different things like that, but do things with other couples.
Yeah.
Because there's
good.
such a sense of strength that comes with that. There's a sense of accountability that comes with that. And it's almost a reminder of why you continue to, and I use this word not in the sense of a negative thing, but a positive, why you continue to fight for your marriage. Because I have others who are on this journey with me, who are running this race with me, and I see the beauty of 34 years married. I see the beauty
19.
of 19 years married, 15 years married. I want to keep pushing. I want to get to 19. I want to get to 33 and beyond. So I just had to throw that in there. All right. So Carlos, I told you I was going to do it. You,
Not you, who's
you
here?
kicked us off. See your spouse, hear your spouse, feel your spouse, value your spouse. So let's talk about these. So seeing your spouse, what does that look like?
So the picture that came to my mind is that when I see my spouse, when I see my beautiful wife, Catherine, shout out to Catherine, is I see how she moves. I see what's important to her. I see where she's placing her time and her energy. And how do I actually best support that so that she knows that I am there.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not there physically, she knows that I'm there spiritually and emotionally. And even when she's sleeping, I see her. And that's been so good, you know, to be able to see her and then start praying over her while she's sleeping. So seeing her in that light has been just a jewel. And then I'll quit after this, but when we're in a group of people and then people comment on her and just like how beautiful she is and just what value she brings to the table, then I see that in her.
Yeah.
Right? And then I affirm that when we're by ourselves again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's so important that I see what she's doing and what she's bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Love that.
I like that. I would say observation. Just looking at her, how she moves, like you said, how she moves. Noticing when she's probably under a bit of stress and feeling a bit overwhelmed.
That's good.
Let me take note.
Yeah.
How can I step in and to alleviate some of that stress?
Yeah.
No nookie tonight. All right, well, let me go ahead and just make sure that she can feel relaxed. Ebony loves to get her feet rubbed.
Yeah.
19 years. She loves to get her. So acknowledge that. See if she just needs anything from the store. Sometimes just by watching, doesn't have to be words.
Yeah.
But just by watching, you can know what your spouse needs. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Just by observation.
And
is
do
how
you,
I see
do
my
you
spouse.
have, I tell you, one of the things that continues to bring me joy is when I see her, when I see her engaged with our sons.
Oh yes.
Just,
Yeah.
you can tell the
She
bond,
loves your boys. Yeah. Yeah, she
the
absolutely
bond
loves
that they actually have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have what we call, and I see it all the time, but we have what we've instituted with our boys because they are adults at this point and they're not living with us. But we have Father Fridays and we have Mommy Mondays.
Okay.
So she calls them every Monday just to have a conversation with them. She's initiating that, but I see how it just lightens her up. It's one of the things that brings her joy every Monday that she gets that opportunity to connect with them and talk with them in that manner. And then when they come over, I mean, it's just like I can see that connection.
That's right. Yeah.
So I see that. In her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anytime you feel like she needs a little sun time, hey, y'all call y'all mama, right? Text her, check up on her,
Yes.
make sure that she's,
Yes.
gotcha. Yeah.
Love that. And so moving to hearing your spouse, and I was sharing with the brothers this evening. My wife and I went out to dinner, and so on the way, she's in a new role with her job, and she's growing in it. I love it. It's a great space for her. I'm seeing her in it. I'm affirming her and letting her know she's doing such a phenomenal job. She's got this. She has the leadership skills. So it's really a joy to watch her operating in this space. And so I could see, right? She was really excited and wanted to have conversation about
Yeah, man.
what was going on for the week and how things are going for the day. And so I just listened. I just let her kind of share, and as she's sharing, I'm intently listening. I'm focused on what she's saying. I'm not listening to try and figure out how do I solve the problem.
Yes, not to fix
how do
it.
I fix it?
Come on, man.
That was years like 1 through 5, 6, maybe 7 in the marriage.
Right.
Eventually, I figured it out. She just needs you to listen.
Come on.
And not just listen as a wall, but listen and give feedback.
Yeah.
So as she was sharing with me, oh, great, babe, that's interesting. So tell me, what does that look like for you in your workday? And do you all have, she's a special education teacher, so do you have paraprofessionals who can come in and pick up some of the slack from those challenges that you just shared with me? And she's, no, we don't. And so it was just a really great time of allowing her to share and not, and again, not making that moment about me, but making it about her.
Right.
Because she's in the new space, not
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could tell you what's going on with my day, but right now I just want to listen to her.
So how do you feel like she walked away from that conversation, knowing that you were engaging? How do you feel? What was her takeaway with that in regards to you?
So again, you talk about observation and seeing your spouse, right? So being married 15 years, I can tell when she knows I'm engaged.
Yeah.
Because the conversation will continue. The conversation you can kind of see the inflections in her voice when she's talking about different things, smiling about it, laughing about it. So I felt like from that conversation, she felt heard.
Come on, man.
And she had that space to be able to kind of share her day, right? And I think I've heard you talk about this before in past podcasts. Don't give your day, but share your day with one another. And I felt like I was able to share her day with her.
That's so good. I think for me to hear her at this point, I'm going on the other side at this point.
Yeah.
So her mom is not doing well. She's declining, and so I'm very sensitive to hearing what she has to say at this point, especially when it comes to that situation, because she is a primary leader in the space of understanding what that's looking like for her mom in the way of care. And because her mom lives in a different state, I have to be very sensitive to her and how she moves in that space and what she's saying, because she's on the phone a lot. And I hear her when we're having conversations, and I'll initiate conversations like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What's your emotional state at this point?
Yeah.
Just so I want her to be able to process through that, because I know it's part of the grieving process that she's going through at this point. So really hearing what she has to say, even if she doesn't say anything, I can tell that is something that's weighing extremely heavy on her right now.
Gotcha.
And so I'm hearing what she had to say. Even today, we had some conversations about that, because she is like putting a lot of things in place in the case of whenever that happens.
I see.
And so to have to plan that automatically, I know that's a very, again, sensitive topic.
Gotcha.
So hearing that.
And I think it's important to realize that your spouse, of all the people in the world that they could talk to, they want to talk to you, fellas.
They do.
They want to have the conversation with you. Yeah, they have girlfriends, but there's certain things that they want to be able to share with their husband. And that's a beautiful space, really, for us to be in.
Fellas, thanks for connecting with us on this week's Part 1 episode of Men's Power Connect. Stay tuned for Part 2 next week. And then the following week, we'll kick things off in our conversation of prioritization in a covenant relationship. If you want to master how to make your wife your focal point in the health of your marriage and your life for that matter, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to be the first to tune in to Part 2 of this week's episode and all things regarding Men's Power Connect. And until then, make sure you go out and encourage another brother.